Welcome to Chills with Chas. We'll continue the Haunted Heartland series with the abduction of Oliver Larch and La Llorona. Let's get into it. In the eerie flickering glow of a kerosene lantern, Matthew Larch followed his son's footsteps in the snow. They started at the kitchen door and extended some 75 feet from the house. There were no other marks on the freshly fallen flakes. Young Oliver's tracks just stopped. The oak water bucket he had carried lay on its side several yards to the left. Matthew Larch huddled under the dark sky with a small group of friends and family. Not a word passed among them. They listened intently, but could scarcely believe their senses. Oliver was crying. His voice grew fainter and fainter as he screamed for help. Screamed from somewhere above them in the black cold sky. Then it was silent. 11-year-old Oliver Larch and his family had been in a festive mood that Christmas Eve of 1889. Good friends, including a local minister and his wife from nearby South Bend, had gathered with the Larch family to celebrate the holiday. Even out-of-town guests, an attorney from Chicago, and a circuit judge had joined the party. After a feast of roast duck and mince pudding, the guests moved into the parlor where Matthew sat down to play the pump organ. Carols drifted from the snug little farmhouse as the hour edged toward midnight. Meanwhile, young Oliver had popped corn, which everyone ate eagerly. Outside, the snow fell steadily until the fluffy new white blanket lay upon the frozen earth. Late in the evening, on a visit to the kitchen, Oliver's father noticed that the water in the cistern was low. The dutiful boy quickly volunteered to bring in fresh water. He slipped on a pair of overshoes and a warm jacket before going out to the pump. A few seconds after he closed the door, a scream from the yard startled the happy gathering. Mr. Larch grabbed a lantern and raced outside. The rest of the group, including Oliver's frantic mother, followed. Matthew Larch swung his lantern to and fro as he followed Oliver's footprints. Though he could not see his son, the boy's cries tore through him. "Help! They've got me!" Matthew heard his son scream. "Help! Help me, please!" Oliver's voice issued from the empty sky. As everyone stared toward the laden heavens, the terrified cries grew even fainter. They could see nothing. Not a light, not an object, and definitely not Oliver. Nor could they hear anything other than the boy's cries. Now almost inaudible, the child had been snatched from the face of the earth. Not able to believe it, Matthew Larch and several other men frantically searched the farmstead, while the women led a distraught Miss Larch into the house. They found not a trace of the boy that night, nor any other night. A police investigation confirmed that the Larch family and their guests had seen and heard that cold winter evening. Oliver's voice must have come from the sky, for there was no other evidence to indicate that he had been kidnapped or ran away. Speculation abounded, but what investigators found most troubling was that there had been no sound other than the boy's screams, nor any lights in the inky blackness. It seemed as if Oliver had been carried upward into the endless night by some unseen demonic being. preposterous. No one ever came forth with a better explanation. Oliver Larch had disappeared forever. Alright, we'll continue with the story. La Llorona. Her legendary name is La Llorona, the weeping woman. For nearly 450 years, the pitiful cries of her spirit have rung through the streets in central Mexico City. In a torn, blood-soaked gown, she cried, Mis mijas, mis mijas, my children, my children. She wandered the earth, searching for the souls of the two illegitimate babies she stabbed to death when their father rejected her. It is conceivable that the ghost of La Llorona had found her way to Gary, Indiana. It is, according to a widely held tradition in the vanished community of Cudahy, now a industrial neighborhood in that city. La Llorona's American hauntings are centered on Klein Avenue, near its intersection with Fifth, the dank Calumet River, and a railroad track cross Klein just north of there. A particular shrub-like smog hangs above the dismal scene, and clumps of weeds and trees refit of foliage add grimness even in the full light of day. Little is left of Cudahy. It was once a thriving neighborhood, populated by Mexican Americans who worked the steel mills. Most of the old houses have long since been torn down, their owners moving to more desperate communities as they settled into their adapted homeland and advanced at their places of work. Only La Llorona remains, or does she? The tales of the ghost woman of Klein Avenue intertwine La Llorona with a phantom woman in white who seeks rides from unsuspecting motorists. Are there two ghosts or one? The legend of La Llorona does have a historical basis in Mexico City. She was Dona Luisa de Olveros, a beautiful Indian princess who fell in love with a Mexican nobleman, Don Uno de Monte Carlos. The year was 1550. So deep was Dona's love for Monte Carlos that she bore him 2 children. Some accounts say twins. Although he didn't promise marriage, Dona prayed for the day when they would wed. While Dona prayed and waited, Monte Carlos lost his passion for her. At length, she decided to confront him. Late one evening, she ventured to his family's palatial home. To her surprise, Monte Carlo seemed to be the center of a gala party in his honor. It was his wedding day. Monte Carlos laughed when Dona fell to her knees to ask why he had forsaken her. Marriage had always been out of the question, he sneered. She was Indian. Beneath his station, she was rudely ejected from the sumptuous home. Donna Luisa fled through the streets, choking and sobbing, half mad with anger at her humiliation. When she reached home, she pulled out a small dagger, a gift from Monte Carlos, and murdered her children. She wandered the streets for more than a day, babbling incoherently, her clothes ripped and smeared with her children's blood. They found her and charged her with infanticide. The court quickly judged her guilty of sorcery. She was publicly hanged, her body left swinging from the gallows for nearly 6 hours. Ever since, the ghost of Donna Luisa de Oliveros has walked the earth, condemned to search forever for the children she cruelly murdered. Folklorist Philip B. George thinks the Cudahy woman in white and La Llorona may be the same, even though the former is identified with an Anglo community and the latter with the Mexican one. He wrote, "It is possible that the Mexicans settled in the Indiana Harbor area and in Cudahy heard the tale of the woman in white from the Anglos. Within the Mexican community, the ghost became identified as La Llorona. As economic situation of many of the Mexicans improved, they moved to newer communities where day-to-day contact with the Anglos was more common. The Anglos could then have picked up the tale from the Chicanos in its new form as the white woman. While the woman in white and La Llorona haunt the area of Klein Avenue, there are differences in their habits. The woman in white is known for hitchhiking. She usually hails taxis and requests rides to Calumet Harbor. She is often seen standing near the Klein Avenue overpass, under which wall the muddy Calumet River. After the cab she has traveled less than half a mile, the driver finds that she has disappeared from the back seat. Sometimes the ghost doesn't bother to hail a cab. She just appears mysteriously in a car as it speeds along the boulevard, only to vanish a few miles later. Sometimes the woman in white simply floats above Klein Avenue toward the area of Old Cudahy. Like La Llorona, the woman in white is said to have killed her illegitimate children in Gary and drowned them in the Calumet River. The media have also played a role in the legend. Some years ago, after the stories of La Llorona spread beyond the Cudahy neighborhood, televisions, radios, and newspaper reporters converged one Halloween night to investigate, and along with hundreds of spectators, scourned the woods near Klein and Fifth. With cameras and microphones in hand, the press hoped to capture one or the other of the elusive spirits on film and tape. No doubt the milling throng was enough to dissuade any specter from showing its transparent face. Whatever does walk in the night on Gary's Klein Avenue, the spirit of a tragic Mexican Indian beauty, or a young girl who drowned her babies in the Calamont River. There are those who believe her ghost will never know peace, not until she finds the souls of those innocent children. That is the end of chapter 2. If you guys would like me to continue reading this book, please comment that. If you have anything else you would like me to read, also comment that. There are other states in this book, so if you would like to know what other states have stories for this book and would like me to jump ahead in the book to read those stories, also let me know. Thank you for reading, or thank you for listening, and come back for more.